We always wonder why these black dudes are not hiring each other. These black dudes work at places. By now, they've been talking on the internet for so long, you would think that all the plumbers have gotten together to form Black Plumbers of Michigan. Dudes have been talking on the internet so long, you would think that all of the tech guys have gotten together and formed Black Tech Men of California. You would think that all of the truck drivers would have got together and formed Black Truck Drivers Alliance. We will take your contracts. Uh, you would think that would have happened by now. When Alpha Male Wisdom created the concept of the manosphere, he said, I said, black dudes should work together. When Alpha Male Wisdom created the concept of the manosphere, Angry Man gave it a name, but when I created the concept of the manosphere, it was about dudes working together, not about spending 16 hours talking about chicks. You would think by now that 300 dudes watching a live stream would have produced one black male company by now. But is it all about entertainment? Is it all about talking about feminism? Is it always talking about gynocracy? Is that all the slave of the parent plantation can talk about? Is gynocracy? Modern day brothers, what state are you from, sir? What state are you from? Modern day brothers is a new person. I don't know who it is. I asked them what state they're from, and I haven't got a response yet. So let me go back to what I'm saying. So I'm going to give you the email address. You email me, I will email the link to you. So I'm familiar who I'm sending this to. So anyway, while I do this for MDB, let me ask this question. You would think by now that more black males would be creating companies. Officer Faulkner is a police officer. I don't hear a bunch of conversations regarding the police force and how we can take over the police force right now. We're not having these conversations. What we're doing instead is talking about a human being that bleeds every month. 16 hours of women, 16 hours, 24 hours, 72 hours of women conversations day after day after day. So don't ask why the white people are mistreating you black men. Don't ask why the white people don't want you around their businesses. Don't ask people to march for you as a black man when you're spending all this time discussing females. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time, a complete, utter waste of time. But that's what we keep doing. We keep having these conversations that have nothing to do with black men hiring black men. It's at the point where when I listen to dudes talk online, they go 2 hours talking about chicks. It gives me this impression that these people don't have actual females or don't have business. Maybe they getting sex. When it comes down to this, some dudes are getting sex, but that doesn't mean that you're dominating this planet just because you having sex. And some dudes are quick to call anything and everything a simp, but then they don't have their own house yet. It's a real plantation sickness that a lot of dudes have. All right, modern day. I did get your email. I sent you an email. I don't understand what the goal is for a lot of dudes. Still trying to understand where a lot of dudes are heading. What are they trying to do? Because we're not succeeding in the areas we think we're succeeding. So what are we doing? Very confusing. It's a very confusing state of affairs when majority of what you're doing is complaining. You would think we would have serious businesses by now. Modern day brother, what are your thoughts, sir?
Hey, how you doing today? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well, sir.
Yeah. As you mentioned earlier, I am new to this space. I mean, I have listened in on Black YouTube for a while, but I would say I've listened to you, Mr. Latre, for the past year or two. I mean, I love your content, man, and it just hurts me to my soul that a brother like you, who has a lot of viable solutions, does not have as much popularity as a lot of these other guys. Because I think your content, also the Dr. Boyce Watkins, the Dr. Claude Andersons as well. Your guys' content, man, is the content we need to push black men and black boys forward. But when it comes to the content in hand, I would say that I've listened to the Black Manosphere. I would say honestly, for the past 3 or 4 years, I was actually here when O'Shea came up with the Negro Manosphere and everything like that. And I must say, I agree with you. I mean, it seems to me that for the past 4 years, we've been talking about the Black Manosphere has been talking about the same talking points, which is, as you know, black female fuckery, black feminism, single motherhood, the educated lame, the Pookie and Ray Ray debate. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that,
Right.
and I agree with you, man. When you look at how big some of these platforms have become, I'm asking myself in the back of my head, why don't you guys have other shows on these platforms? And you know what I mean?
Let me interrupt and ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
What industry are you in?
Oh, I'm actually a freelance writer. I
Okay,
mean,
wouldn't it be beautiful if there were any one of these people who said, you know what, let's hire MDB to
mhm.
do freelance writing on the benefits of voting Trump as a black man versus the negative of voting Trump as a black man. Wouldn't it be good if you had six of these brothers form their own actual news station on the side and bankroll it, and they can hire MDB to write actual stories that benefit black men?
You know something, brother? I absolutely agree with you, and I've actually reached out to a couple people. I actually don't mind if you don't. I can say some names if you want.
No,
If
no,
you
no,
don't.
no, no. It's
Okay.
not even worth it because what
Okay.
happens is people tend to get childish
Yeah.
in their old age as black men.
Yes, I agree.
And when I mention names, I take it on the chin because I can back up the scenario. if you were to mention it, it gives the excuse for them to call it clout chasing.
Yeah.
Let me also back up something that you said. I'm actually very popular, but I'm the person a lot of people fear to discuss with.
Hmm.
So I have 42,000 subscribers, but I make more than 85 grand.
Oh, I'm happy for
So
you.
so trying to get 50, 60,000 out of YouTube pumping out videos every day, it's backwards for me.
Wait, so you wouldn't make as much money as you are
Not
now,
at
I'm
all.
assuming. Yeah, I
Not at all.
agree.
So I'm very limited in how I interact with YouTube now. So being that I was already very popular, and then I had Brotherhood Lessons, which was 22,000 subscribers, and I also had the one before Ask a Classy Black Man, which had about 18,000 subscribers. You can see my
Yeah,
point.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that channel actually. I love
So
that channel, man.
so Alpha Male Wisdom had about 42,000 subscribers. So I just really have lost interest in putting a lot of time. My thing now is to give back because to your point, and I'm about to give you the microphone back. To your point, we're battling entertainment now.
Yes, we are.
Logic and information cannot compete against boogalooing.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to boogaloo and be Stephen Fetchit. And you as a writer, you're going to understand when I say this. The fact that you got people still trying to make Romans seem like the creators of everything when black people ran the Black Sea way before. The image of black man is being killed by the young black boys who just want to talk about, are you fucking? You must not be fucking.
Yeah, you know, Ciela Trey. It's crazy you say this, and I would say, sadly, at first I used to say that something. This is just YouTube. This doesn't exist in real life. But I'm not gonna tell you no story, man. Even when I sit down and talk to close friends of mine who are black men, it seems like 85% of the time the conversation is all about relationships and sex. And a lot of guys look at me kind of weird and funny, but I sit there and I tell them, like, look, man, with the state of black boys right now, because I think me and you will agree that black women are more monolithic than black men. Would you agree with me on that, or no?
All day long. I've said that on here all day long.
Okay.
They use black men in order to make the black male a type of servant. And then they continue. Matter of fact, they're so monolithic that they will bond with the white woman and the Indian woman to achieve her agenda, the same
Absolutely.
way that they're currently bonding with black trans women by saying she's a woman too. Defend her, BDB.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with you, man. And back on that point, I'm sitting there telling these black men, like, hey, man, relationships and pussy, quote unquote, is the last thing that should be on our mind right now, because I'd have to admit it, man, that as a group, I would say that black men are being dominated. And I know a lot of brothers would say that's a female talking point. I know, and if people feel that way, that's fine. But when you look at the unemployment rates, when you look at how black men can't come together and use these outlets on YouTube to create networks and shows and talk about a variety of topics, I mean, we are being dominated as a group of men. And
What's to stop? What's to stop America right now from saying the only thing to quietly say it, not publicly? The only job a black male can get is cleaning and sweeping.
I, to answer you, we don't have the power to even, we wouldn't be able to prevent anything, man, to be
No,
honest
all
with
we
you.
can do is get on the microphone and complain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's your financial structure? The women are all going to look at you like, hey, we getting ours. What if they was to bring slavery back? What if the Indians, the Asians, the whites, and the Africans even
Hmm.
said, Adolph's men, we don't want them in our community. So if they not lifting nothing, That's how Morocco blacks are getting treated right now.
Yes,
I
true.
lie to you not.
Even in Libya, you're absolutely right. I just actually did. It's crazy you mentioned that. I actually just did an article for a client about the slave trade that's still going on in North Africa. And I don't know if people don't know this or not, but if you look at the demographics, when you talk about Morocco and Libya, African people make up about 30 to 45% of those populations. And when you talk about how crazy the slave trade has been going on over there, and how a lot of black men, even though it's black women, but it's by and large black men who are being smuggled into Italy, into Spain, to work in the fields like the Hispanics are doing over here. And I'm just saying this is a bad image for black men, because I'm sitting here saying this. What is your structure? Do you think that we would be able to do that to Chinese men? No. Will we be able to do that to Jewish men? Absolutely not. It's because these men have a structure and a power backing them.
A financial structure.
Yes, a financial structure. I'm glad you sat there and said that. That's
not about talking.
Yeah, a financial structure.
Jews don't like Jews.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, can we get this money together? I had hate for modern day a day ago. That was a day ago. We can make money today.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like I was on a panel the other day, man, and they were talking about women infiltrating the Black Manosphere, and a fella by the name of I don't know if you're familiar with this brother, Kevin Samuel, said black men need to start putting their money together to create some type of black male media outside of YouTube because of the so-called quote unquote YouTube purge that is coming. And do you know how much pushback this brother got off of making that statement? It was crazy to me. It was crazy to me.
Because Kevin, MOT, myself, a couple other people, Glendon, we talk power and politics. And that's hard for a lot of black males to follow.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the concept right now that YouTube would just specifically push them out of the network. You don't own it. And when you go down to San Mateo, which is where YouTube headquarters is, it's mostly women. There are virtually no men that work there. I've been down there 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I look at it like this. There was a young gentleman that I used to listen to a couple years ago, and I just found this out because I'm so busy. I don't have time to really be on YouTube like that. I believe his name is Angel Ramirez. Now, I'm pretty sure if you're familiar with that gentleman, nobody could mistake this brother as being a red pill, quote unquote, SYSBM brother. So what I'm sitting here saying is this: if this brother got flagged and taken off YouTube, what's stopping them from coming into this Negro Manosphere space and taking all your channels down?
What's to stop them from flagging you religiously every 3 weeks?
Yeah. And I know this is going to be some friendly fire, but I know you don't want to say no names, but the individual who created the Negro Manosphere, what gets me with this is you've been overseas for all these years talking about becoming a doctor. But I want you, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but you don't think if you go to apply to be a doctor, they're not going to do a background check on you and see you in a space with a bunch of men who they already perceive as being misogynistic, talking about women all day? So I mean, when I look at the way this space is, man, and like I said, it's not all of the brothers. Like I said, you're one of the few select brothers that actually have viable content. But I mean, man, I personally feel, man, that black men are done. It hurts me to sit here and say this. Like, for the past couple of years, me studying the Dr. Umars, me studying you, me studying Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Boyce Watkins, brothers who talk about financial empowerment. It's like, by and large, black men aren't following those methods that these guys are preaching to them. Like I said, man, if it ain't about sex, if it ain't about going overseas, getting a white woman, a Hispanic woman, these brothers just don't want to talk about it. And it scares me because I do feel that we're sealing our fate. We're digging our own graves right now, and we're about a foot in, I would say.
Here's the unfortunate thing. I know it's all about monolithic numbers, but you'll actually have people make a statement. Ain't nobody monolithic. Several people are monolithic. White people are not monolithic. You're wrong. Irish are monolithic. White people are so monolithic that they will let a Russian come in their community, plot to kill them, know that a black person is a veteran and a war hero who has protected them, and they'll work against the black guy to protect the Russian just on skin color. That's how monolithic white folks are.
And I mean, I've heard you say that by and large, and when I listen to you, I mean, it's like when you talk to these guys, man, you have to talk to them like a first grader. I don't hear you sitting here saying that we have to be 100% monolithic. But what
No,
you're basically saying is, I mean, at least 60 to 70%, which is reasonable. Because
you
it's
got to
like,
have some group concept. Even if I don't like you, modern day, it's me and you against them.
yeah, of course, like you said, 60 to 70% monolithic. I mean, because let's be real here, man. White liberals, white conservatives, they don't like each other from a philosophical
At
standpoint.
all.
But you best believe they'll come together and put some tax breaks in line for their donors together to make sure that their people win. I mean, get this, Mr. Cielo Trey. White women voted 50%, 55, I believe 55% of white women
Yeah.
voted for Trump.
hmm
Get
And
that.
we'll do it again.
55%, and this is supposed to be one of the most quote unquote liberal minority groups in the United States.
No, that's just for black women to absorb.
Yeah,
No,
I agree. I
they
agree.
only say that to. There's a black woman who wrote a couple of books pointing out just what you've pointed out, and the book is like a plead and a begging to white women. Don't y'all believe in feminism? I thought y'all believed in feminism.
Mhm.
They never
Feminism for
did.
white women.
Yeah, they never did.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, just think about that for example. So when you're sitting there talking about being monolithic, you know, I feel that as black men and even as black women, since we're gonna gotta include them because I mentioned white women, we have to sit back and say to ourselves, well, hold on, these groups are doing it and they're winning. Like we may not agree on everything from a philosophical or political standpoint, but like you just said, it's us against the world. Because I lived out in Los Angeles, Mr. Research. And from my point of view, black people are getting squeezed left and right.
All day long.
Because remember, Watts and Inglewood used and Compton, 75 to 80% black 20 years ago. Now it's 30 to 40%. If you go,
So when you got several black manosphere dudes, several
Mhm,
living in LA, what's
mhm.
their plan?
I, look, I absolutely agree with you because this is my point of view to answer your question. If I was in these guys' shoes, I will do what Pastor Dow did. I will come together and I would actually buy property and buy land in these areas. And because if you own the homes and the property in a neighborhood, can't nobody come in and gentrify you. You could only allow them to do so. But I mean, it just blows and baffles my mind how we're sitting here talking about these, you know, these talking points about feminism, and we're getting squeezed. My buddy who lives up in San Francisco was telling me, you know, when you come out here, man, and you're trying to get a job as a black software engineer or cybersecurity,
Sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
he told me it's crazy to him how you're being interviewed by an Indian, a
Motherfuckers
Chinese,
that ain't even American.
a Korean, and they're not going to let you in. They're going to hire people from their country.
Right.
And from an economic standpoint, like you always talk about, man, we are being squeezed from both ends. And based off of what the CDC reported earlier last year, by 2050, black wealth is about to hit zero.
Yeah.
Maybe, and I'm going to tell you this: I don't believe 2050. I believe 2035. I feel they're being lenient.
Well, see, here's the problem. The black woman is getting kicked out of the office at a rapid pace.
Mm-hmm.
The African woman is replacing her. But even she's realizing that she's not as well liked as she thought.
Yeah.
So now she's being bundled in a certain scenario
Mm-hmm.
to where she's a contract chick or what have you. When you look at every industry that black women used to dominate, they're being replaced by Indian, Asian, something of the sort. And the reason being is because they're just sticking together. I see women who have no skills whatsoever.
Hmm.
Filipino, bring them right in, work with them for a half a year to get them measurable.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter. They're monolithic. And this whole zero thing that you're talking about is because right now the male workforce has been pushed out to the outskirts of the city.
True.
Here in San Francisco, most of my friends who are warehouse workers or what have you, they stay an hour out in the middle of nowhere around cows and windmills. So you went out there to buy a property, you got a pool, you pay 300, $400,000. You living great. But let's look at the reality. You're around a bunch of horses and cows, open land that was meant for horses and cows. The only thing that's been around there for the past 20 years, using your timeline argument, is retail places. There's no actual developments, company wise. Um, let's see. You raise your children out there, great, but your children can't even resell your property.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know, yeah, everything you're saying is true because I have family who live in Stockton. So I know
Oh,
exactly what you're
Jesus.
talking about.
Yeah.
I saw it out there very, very heavily. But I mean, just listen to all of this, looking at the statistics and seeing how you have some productive black men out there who are trying to make a change, but man, it's the other 75 to 80%, man, who I mean, these brothers gotta die. I
Oh,
mean, there has
hey,
to
yeah,
be a
they do. Hey,
moment.
they do. Early.
I
We
mean,
got we got to clip them.
yeah, I mean, I will have to sit there and say, like, I do think that there has to be a major or an extreme cultural shift for us to move our people to get our people forward. Because I'm gonna tell you something, Mr. Research, there's not going to be a black community, I believe, in the next 30 years.
No, it won't. I guarantee it. Probably next 15. It won't.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
you're gonna have, I mean, and I'm not against her or anything, but you're gonna have
matter
a
of
lot
fact,
of.
I'm gonna shock you by saying the Indians are gonna bring back the black female domestic worker.
I
Just
wouldn't, I
because
wouldn't, I
I saw it
wouldn't be
happen
shocked.
before. I saw it happen in France. I saw it happen in England.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised.
That's the crazy thing.
I mean, so do you, from your point of view, do you believe that do you feel that we've reached the end of no return? Because I know you've been here for quite a while. I know you're a boomer. Am I correct?
I don't know what you would call it. Yeah, I guess you could say boomer.
Yeah, I mean you've been around a lot longer than me. You've lived through it all. I'm a millennial. I'm only 26.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
So I mean, do you feel that we've reached the end of no return?
You guys don't. You millennials don't have a war to fight.
Hmm.
There's no German shepherds biting on you. There's nobody hanging you from trees. You guys are kind of shocked that some of your millennials were found hanging from trees, and you see how uninterested majority of millennial males are.
Oh man, don't even get me. Let me tell you something, man. Don't even get me on that topic right there. Please don't get me on that
But
topic.
these are the
I
same
agree.
millennial. But these are the same millennials males telling us our time is over, or you boomers didn't leave us nothing. Y'all not doing nothing.
Well, you know something, man. I've never. That's one thing about me, Mister Research. I've never really, as a black male, I've never really got into the whole millennial versus boomer debate because I
It's a
understand.
woman's creation.
Yeah, and I understand if you go back and look at some of the stuff the boomers had to live through and what the Gen X had to live through when you talk about the crack epidemic, the 1970s heroin epidemic, where the United States, was funding these guerrilla groups in Cambodia by allowing them to sell heroin in black communities. I mean, it wouldn't have been possible for black men back there to really do anything because they were being attacked from all fronts. So I never use that talking point when it comes to, oh, boomers didn't leave, Gen X didn't leave me anything, boomers didn't leave me anything, because I understand the struggles that black men were going through back then.
Right. Well, see, the unfortunate thing, black men were trying to sincerely help women
Hmm.
because women weren't getting what they got in the 90s. White women, as much as white women fooled black women into thinking that white women loved them, white women would not allow black women to work side by side with them. White women would more so hire a Latin woman,
Hmm.
you know. Um, so the unfortunate thing is, as black men, gotta black men gotta get to the understanding that on all fronts, other people are being monolithic, and other people are sticking together, whether the person is skilled, not skilled, and black dudes are still stuck on this. I got mine. You need to get yours. It's not going to work like that in 2021. You're starting to see women get forced out of the workforce. You're starting to see gay dudes be betrayed by other gays in the community. You're starting to see white men feel sorry for black men because they
Yeah.
see, you know, welcome flagship. Let's give him some of the microphone. The topic flagship is flagship left. Okay, well, the topic for everybody listening is brothers talking 16 hours about female, and you can't be in this concept of just talking about females all day long,
Hmm.
because what are you creating for your son? So while we give you guys a chance to think about that, I'm gonna take 30 seconds, and then we're gonna let Modern Day answer that question in his own way.
Yeah, sure. Once, let me run to the restroom.
Mhm. So I'm back. So the whole point in trying to get you to understand everyone is that uh, people have to start putting down their little beefs with each other. People have to start realizing that as black guys, no matter what part of a black guy you are, you got to start putting down a lot of these little beefs and start talking as business people, because that's why I came up with the concept of manosphere. Is if Minister Jap worked with Angry Man, if Angry Man worked with uh O'Shea, but you're working toward a financial goal. That's the whole point. If you're not working toward a financial goal, gentlemen, then we're just sitting here talking. There's more and more guys. I look at more and more guys who are willing to take service jobs. Please don't take a trade. A trade is a lie. Itmore lied to you about trades. Nobody's hiring your trade. There's nobody who's able to buy a house off a trade. It may be regional. Maybe you in Michigan can go get a trade and have that work out. But you guys got to understand the world isn't moving like that no more. Your service worker mentality, I just want to punch in and be left alone, that don't work no more, gentlemen. Go ahead, modern day.
Yeah, and what was the question that you presented to me, sir? I'm sorry.
Okay, so let me remix it a little bit. It's at the point where black males are polluting other black males with anger,
Hmm.
but anger about the women that they could just walk past, drive past. If sex is so important, go work your job and get an escort. Do you know how many white guys go to the darn massage parlor and get sucked off and go right back to work? But I guess my question is simply this: what can the millennials do at this juncture to undo the sex talk? Because the millennials are getting money, but it's not long-term money.
I agree. I actually agree with that. That's not a hasty generalization. I actually agree with that. I agree with that.
The whole get the bag culture doesn't really help, because if you're going to get impressed by $100,000 in 3 years, you just pimped yourself. That's nothing.
Hmm.
You
The
could have,
average house in San Francisco, and you said you're in the San Francisco area. The average home is what now? Like what, $720,000 now?
well, that's no the yeah, I would say about 700, because mine is about 1.2.
Hmm.
So yeah, I
Well,
wouldn't.
to answer your question, Mister Research, I think as of right now, I think the best that we can do as millennials is to try to practice being monolithic, or by and large teach Generation Z black men how to be monolithic. Because I'll be honest with you, Mr. Research, not to sound like a defeatist or a pessimistic individual, but I don't believe black millennial men are going to be the black men to change over this community.
Not at all.
Because I mean, like I said, listen to the talking points in the manosphere, and that just shows you right there that, I mean, by and large, these brothers are sitting here basically saying this: look, I don't want nothing to do with the community. I just want to go my own way, become SYSBM, and just call it a day.
No, no, no. Even worse, I want to go fuck poor broke women, get them pregnant, and leave their ass and laugh.
Yeah.
Majority of the conversations you hear, nobody likes to say it, but majority of the conversations you hear are, I want the type of sex that doesn't talk back, fight back, and if I lead them into fire, they should just be happy to burn because they're women. You don't hear conversations about, hey, look, I'm going to have some personal responsibility on how my son looks at me. I'm going to have some personal responsibility about how my daughter looks at me. No, you have conversations. Oh, my daughter just going to love me. Okay, why? My son's just going to appreciate me. Okay, why?
Hmm.
Because if you're saying that, then the chick that you with should be doing the same thing. I'm amazed by people who've been one divorce is is one thing. You're on your second and third divorce. Don't come talk to me about women. I just don't understand that. I mean, shouldn't you be looking at yourself in the mirror like, I can't even lead a white woman. When I look at Antonio Brown, for example, can't
Hmm.
even lead a white woman. What? How can you, man? I don't know. Educate me, modern. I might be wrong.
Well, I mean, which is crazy, man, because we actually had this discussion on another panel where we had a lot of brothers in the Negro Manosphere talking. And I was sitting here and I made this comment. I sent it in the super chat, about $15, $20. And I sat here and said this: you guys are talking about how these black women are single mothers, this and that. But yet you guys are sitting here admitting that you had sex with this woman, didn't get married, and she's basically now a single mother now. And,
Right.
and it's when I'm sitting here saying, I'm gonna be real. I know a lot of people hearing me say this will probably say, I'm simping for black women, I'm doing this and that. No, absolutely not. Because I feel to a certain extent, when you look at the other end of the spectrum, it seems to me that all these black women want to talk about is swirling, leaving black men alone in
And
sex as well.
can't succeed at that either.
Yes, and you want to know, it's like, I mean, not to go far track on the conversation, I don't want to do that. It's like I told Chrissy one day, I called in and I told her, ma'am, with all due respect, you're selling these black women a dream, because I told them, you all are not about to go into these white communities, these Hispanic communities, and these Asian communities in mass and marry these men.
And dictate.
Yeah, and it's like you mentioned mentioned MOT, and I have nothing against MOT. I actually
Mhm.
think MOT is the standard of what a black man should be. How he's
Yeah,
a
good. Yeah,
self-made
yeah.
billionaire, hard worker. I respect him. But even I
Mhm.
told him with the SYSBM, let's be realistic here. These brothers aren't going to run into these communities and marry these white, Asian, and Hispanic women in mass. It's just not going to happen. It's going to be major pushback. It's just not going to happen.
Well, the thing is, when MOT was over here getting some of this wolf understanding, SYSBM was led by the guy with the helmet on his head.
Bus driver, I believe
Yeah,
that's his name. Yeah.
yeah. And when you look at his stuff on Black Avenger, it's all white women with a twat spread wide open, a bunch of spread eagles. Virtually every video he got over there is some form of porn. Funny thing is, his wife is Asian. Now let that sink in. There's no Asian women over there spread wide. There's no. So when you do stuff like that, for me as an intellectual brother, you're putting on a facade.
Of course.
It goes along with the helmet. You're putting the game out. And when you look at it from this standpoint, the way the algorithm works now, one of my YouTubers who's connected to me, she got 1 million views, and about 900 of that well, she got 1.3, and about 900 of that million was about watch time, right?
Mm-hmm.
How big was her check?
Oh, I'm not. I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'm not too familiar with
No,
that.
go ahead and just take a wild guess.
Oh, I would say. Oh my God, I'm probably overstating it a bit. $2,000, 2,500.
Oh, okay, she actually got 6,000.
Wow.
So look at what needed to happen. 1 million. Do you see my point?
Yeah.
So when you look at someone who's made 10 videos at 10,000 10,000 views or watch time, and you were to mathematically move that number to, what is it, 100,000, that's only $600.
Mm-hmm.
Look
Should
at
you be
all that.
better off becoming a plumber or welder, man, and make what is it? I think they're making now. Like you can make up to 4 or 5 grand a month, man.
Right. So my point is, yes, that's a lot of money to somebody sitting at home. That's a lot of money for somebody who's cranking out 3 to 5 videos a day, or two-hour live streams a day. Other people ain't got time for that. And then you get stuck doing that. And what if YouTube pulls the plug? What if YouTube says, you know what? We ain't gonna have no more content creators. We're good. Now, as a content creator, matter of fact, I probably should make that suggestion to the people at YouTube. But what should happen now is you got to put your ID every time you create a channel, so that anything you say or do is tracked by your actual name through the people at YouTube. And YouTube is going to charge you 99 cents or $2 a month to maintain your account, to pay somebody to track the stupid stuff that's said and done.
And you
What's going to stop it?
Well, I mean, I would tell you something, man. We're already down that line. I mean, because it's like I was trying to explain to Angry Man one day. I was trying to explain to him because we got on the topic about YouTube purge and those types of things, and I sat there and said, "Look, man, if a cosmetic agency making, let's say, $2-3 billion a year come to YouTube and say, hey, I want you guys to sponsor my product on these channels, and 65 to 70% of the consumers are women, do you honest to God think they want to sit here and have their AdSense on a channel that's talking about women all day, misogynistic content and all that?" Because I sat there and tell them women have a lot of power because of their spending habits. Because they're the biggest.
Are you back to financial again, sir?
Yes, yes. I mean, that's my point of view. I mean, like I tell these guys, man, like I know you lean, even though you're kind of a moderate guy. I know you lean a little bit more on the conservative end, which is fine
Yeah.
with me. I don't have no problem with that. I'm not one of those types of people that call a black conservative a coon. I don't do that. But it's like I tell guys, whether you vote Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter if you don't have no power. Because
No
as you
finance.
know,
No finances.
yeah, no financial power. Because as you know, politics has always been about you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Why do you
But
think
see,
the rich
in
only
that
pay
conversation,
0%?
you may have had with Angry Man, his position may have been, it's our voice.
It was along the line of freedom. I mean, yes, it was along the line of freedom of the whole freedom of speech thing.
It's our voice.
Yeah, I understand that. But what
But
I'm saying,
voice don't pay no bills.
yeah,
And if you got somebody pushing out a lie, but they dropping 100K, the lie is gonna win every time.
yeah, because I said this is how, as black men, we could do it. And I know some people will say that this is I'm thinking too out the box, or I'm sounding too optimistic, or sounding more like an idealist. Come together, each black man put $1 in a pot. What's that? Like 18, 20 million, $20 million. Go to whatever presidential candidate you want to say, hey, if you do this for black men and black boys, we'll have double that for you 4 years down the line. If you live up to your line, that's how you can live up to your word. That's how you buy politicians. I mean, Mr. Research, you know this. Why is it that Apple only pays 0% in taxes by the end of the year?
Oh, loopholes like a mug.
Yeah,
They
I mean
got somebody down in
crony
Congress.
capitalism. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure you heard. Yeah,
they got
cronyism.
somebody down in Congress just making the loophole for them.
Yeah, that's exactly how the rich do it. They understand that if we want our basically our voice to be heard, if we want to gain more power, we have to buy the politicians. The women understand that because they have a political, I don't know what term to use, but they have a political block. They have an agenda. The
Yeah,
Hispanics have the agenda. The Asians have the agenda. I mean, I would even say black women to us, like I said, to a certain extent, have an agenda. But when you talk about black men, like I said, man, it's all about sex. That's
yeah.
it.
Well, see, everybody knows that now. I've been to a couple of orgies, and the funny thing that you will find at orgies is the dudes who are not having sex with chicks, they're trying to control chicks in that moment.
Mhm.
It's a funny thing. You'll sit up here, you having sex, you stroking, y'all laughing, like I have sex with chicks, especially at orgies. I'm laughing, I'm joking. And the jokes are to her or to her husband in the corner or whatever. Okay. But you get some of these dudes, yeah, bitch, yeah. And it's like, dude, we're all here having fun. I understand you're in your fantasy, but it's a bit much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's,
I get.
it's, it's like who are you getting revenge on in this moment?
Yeah,
You were invited here. It's like it's so funny to me, man. It's so weird how and it's something you can only see at an orgy. It's just a weird thing that the powerlessness of a dude. You know what I mean? A dude who, it's so funny. Like I told one dude, man, a while ago, the people sometimes laugh when you sit up here having sex with this woman, and her husband is in the corner watching. But do you know that's the most powerful dude in the room?
yeah,
This dude got the finances. He's doing all this for his pleasure. It may not seem like it, but that's what this dude is doing. Let me clean up my vernacular because Sheila E, my favorite drummer, is here. Hello, Sheila. How are you?
Uh, all right, how you doing,
You've been
Mr.
hearing a
Research and
couple of
Mother Day
things.
brother?
hey, how
You've
I'm
you
been
just
doing?
sitting back listening to y'all conversation. Today I had a meeting with my Congress,
okay.
and
How dare you talk power? Go ahead.
let me tell you something. like I said, I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. So I brought up a proposal concerning only ADOS black people. I don't want nothing with minorities because every time we do some minorities, you got Asian, you got Jamaicans, you got Haitian or whatever. So the plan was, it's sound like, okay, I'll try not to hit the HR 40 bill. Y'all know what that is, right?
Could you please
Yes,
explain it?
yes, I know what it is. It's Barbara Lee's bill. I know what it is.
Okay, and this still been doing a study on that. So I think they pacify us just through that bill there to make us feel good and seem like they're gonna do something. Which the bill been sitting there now for a couple of years, and no state, each state is different, and nobody is really presenting it to the table. So I was the first in New York State to present it to the table.
Thank you so much.
You're
Really
welcome.
appreciate it.
And the end of the day is I talked to Sean Maloney. He's in Washington. I talked to Jonathan. He's in state with Governor Cuomo. And then also I have a good relationship with Governor Cuomo. So everything I'm doing, and then I have a good relationship with my mayor, and then also my county. So we getting a lot of pushback from Jonathan, which is state. I've been a Democrat for like almost 10 years faithfully on the boards and everything. So I stopped being a Democrat and I changed my party. Because what I have found out to me, that the Democrat really don't benefit blacks. Every inner city I see is nasty, dirty, messed up roads, sidewalks, education's not good, economics not good. So and a majority of Democrat cities.
Let me cut you off just to say this real
Go ahead.
quick, and I want to hear modern day's take on what you said, but also this. Sheila, I have found, and this sounds very weird when I say this, and I just told a family member this about 2 hours ago. I have found that the racist white guys who speak anti-black sometimes are more consistent in what they do than the liberal people who smile and love black folks, but their actions are totally different.
Wow. That's what I was saying about Trump, but go ahead.
I can set a clock by some of these racist people who don't like me, but I can work, make money, join the union, I can feed family. Don't like me at all. But some of the liberals, they just frivolously do shit. Oh, love and peace, help everyone. Okay, this is hurting me that you're doing right now. Oh, wow. What you mean, wow? What are you going to do? See, it's very weird. It's a very weird thing, politics. And that's another reason why people don't like politics, because it's not an animal that you could set a clock to. One person over here might have said N-word back in college, but at 36 years old, she helping you all outdoors. Versus somebody who ain't never did that, and they smiling, and they doing you dirty the whole freaking time. Modern day, what are your thoughts?
Well, you know something, I've always been a firm believer that, you know, black people, I always tell black people when it comes to voting, I always tell them, don't sit here and limit yourself to one party. I mean, if a Republican represents your views and can do more for you than the Democrat, then by all means go to the Republican. But like I just said a couple minutes ago to you, Ciela Trey, what I try to explain to a lot of black people, even those who are on the conservative side of the spectrum, like, look, just because black people in mass go and vote Republican, conservative, or libertarian, that doesn't mean that the sun's going to come out. Because by and large, I'm looking at it from this standpoint. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. What economic power do black people have the offer to a Republican for a Republican to do anything for them? It all comes back to the fact that as a group, and since we're talking about black men, as a group, we're just a very powerless people. And when you're a powerless people, I mean, you're basically a victim. That means that your very existence is dependent upon a people, liberal, conservative, it don't matter, who don't even really like you. They see you as a burden. They don't really see you as someone who can benefit them. So from my perspective, I agree with the young lady. I'm glad that she became more open-minded and said, you know something, I want to leave this plantation. But at the same time, you're going to pretty much so be on another plantation because as a whole, you can't offer the Republicans anything. And the Republicans are a party of nepotism and money.
Now, the only pushback to that is being a lady, women have shown that they can economically support. And as far as give them anything, just on the image of black women having disposable income to be able to donate 1,000, 2,000, that's something. The black male, unfortunately, isn't doing what Sheila's doing. The black male, unfortunately, isn't doing on YouTube, isn't doing what Sheila's doing. And Sheila just talked over the heads of quite a few people.
Yeah, everything I said was related to black men, not black women. I'm sorry if I did. I should have prefaced my comments. Everything I just said is directed towards black men, not black women. That's
no. I got that. I'm just being balanced and saying that even with that, it's unfortunate the black man is not participating on this level to be able to do what you're talking about, Monica. Is the black guys, unfortunately, I mean, I'm into politics, but the black guys, unfortunately, it's such a conversation about dating that it makes you wonder, what's the end goal? Sheila E., what are your thoughts?
I'll be honest, dating, this is not the time. Everybody going with Black Lives Matter, and I'm going way left. Why they doing Black Lives Matter? Remember, we never got 40-acre mules. So I'm going after what our ancestors never got. And that's what I'm doing. And I know it's going to get a lot of pushback. Like my senator said, it's not favorable. He got a good reputation. He bring good bills. He going to have a pushback. Like I told him, you had the pushback, we got your back. I got my uncle. I got 2 educated brothers behind me. We're going to get some more. I'm the only woman. And we're going to do this. Because the end of the day is our black men is going 6 feet under in prison. While y'all's, like I told them, while the white ones, they're in corporate. They're making their own company. They're going to college. I said, and our black women, when it's saying we the most high educated, it's not black American women. It's Asian. It's Latinos. It's Jamaican or Hades. Not ADOS black women.
Well, you know what? So, the only reason they say ADOS because when they look at the grants, a lot of women apply for grants and aid, but what they don't realize, many of those things say for women only, and that's what makes it appear. But I always say this: even if you were wrong, Sheila, then women should be the children of educated women should be cleaning up. The children of educated women should be getting all the jobs because she's already in position. She got a job at this company or what have you. So obviously her daughter should be the secretary. Obviously her son should be in the mailroom, but that's not happening. So to tout that people are educated or the most educated is kind of a misnomer. Let me also say that as far as what you're doing politically, you just need to get names of the people who push back and make videos about them. Because see, that's what really hurts those people, knowing that their name is attached to their failure or something that they did. And that lives with them a long time. Let's go back to modern day. What are your thoughts?
Well, and you want to know something? I commend the lady, man, because one thing she mentioned earlier was how we have a tendency of trying to include all these groups in the fight for what ADO's black people rightfully deserves. And you want to know something I find very interesting, and I actually discovered this when I wrote a research paper about affirmative action. And when you look at the grants, when you look at affirmative action policies that are implemented to increase the amount of minorities in the corporate world, can you guess which group is benefiting the most from those policies? It's white women. And when you sit here and talk about one,
Wow.
huh?
I said,
You
wow.
correct. You correct.
Yeah. And when you
You
sit
correct.
back, I mean, and I sit here and say this, man. I mean, when you talk about like the civil rights movement and everything like that, I would say that that was one knife that we put in our own hearts was the minute we started including these other groups. So I'm happy to hear, you know, a black woman who's on the front lines. I wish there was more black men on the front lines, to be honest with you, sitting here saying that, no, I want to do something specifically for ADOS black people, not Nigerians, not Jamaicans, not Hispanics, and not Asians, and not white women. And I really do appreciate that because that's something we do not talk about a lot. Those are just my thoughts.
Yeah, because like I said, we're too busy talking about dating. And and like matter of fact, I'm gonna let Sheila talk and I'm gonna see what black men are talking about at right here at the second. Go ahead, Sheila.
They're talking about game. That's what they're talking about. Um, Me and a young lady got into it last night on Cuda Piano. So it's not. They don't really talk about politics. And to me, politics is really nothing but just getting to know what's going on around in your community, your city, your county, your state, wherever you live at. It's that easy and that simple. Go to your city council meeting, go to the work sessions, um, go to the parents have to go to the board education meetings. You know, just getting involved into your community, and that's what it's all about. And I raised my kids on that. They don't like politics. They don't like inner city, but the end of the day is they know their rights and everything. So that's what we have to do in the black community. I go back in my community where I was raised at and teach my people, educate them. I am known for my bullhorn and shutting down the whole city and do protests and stuff like that. And like I said, now no more protests. I'm coming to the tables with
I think you accidentally muted yourself.
because
Yeah, I think
the
you
end of the
actually
day
muted.
is I'm sorry. The end of the day is, like I said, they had the Mexicans coming in here with sanctuary cities. They could drive with no license. The cops are not stopping them, but they stopping and frisking our black men, and just things just have to be addressed straight on. And a lot of people don't want to address it because they want to do business as usual, but they want to vote these people in, but don't hold them accountable. And I said, let's be transparent. If you don't put this bill on the table by October, I told them to do a press release, and I'm just going to start knocking on doors, telling them what you went against for black people.
Actually save yourself some time, make a video. Seriously, make a video, tag their name on it, and post it on your Facebook. It
And
is
you know what?
equally
I'm going to
effective
do that too, because they're all my Facebook friends and my mayor and all of them. You're right.
because what happens when people Google that representative's name, all of the negative stuff pops up, and you can see what different people are saying. I'm gonna start wrapping this down because I got to get some sleep. I got to be at work in the morning. I took the day off,
Yeah, well,
so
Okay,
let me
thank
hear
you.
you.
it was good talking to
Let
you
me hear
guys,
you.
man. I mean,
Let
I
me hear
look.
your final thoughts, Modern. What are your final thoughts?
Well, all I can sit here and say is, man, I know it's a broken tape recorder. I know you've said this over and over again. Black men need to start being more monolithic, and we need to start looking at an end goal for our young black boys. That's all I have to say, man. And you keep up the
Well,
good
I'll
work,
say
Mr.
what you said
Researcher.
earlier, man. I'll say what you said earlier. Some
Thank you.
dudes, I won't even go to the battlefield with them. I'll murk them before the battle even starts because it ain't no use to go up on the battlefield with whiners and complainers. Just don't make no sense. Sheila, what are your final thoughts?
I just want I just want to thank y'all for just doing what y'all doing, and hey, if we could just reach one person and change one life, whatever we doing is not in vain. And keep on promoting this on YouTube. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
I had to jump
Absolutely.
in it because I had a meeting with my Congress today, and he said one thing about you, Sheila, you're a fighter. So I want to
There
appreciate
you
you
go,
for this
Sheila.
conversation.
And really, you should get into, like I said, making your arguments via video, because to be honest, that's the way to go. Rather than going door to door, you need to be known for exposing things in your community, even if it's
That's
just
what I'm for. I'm known for that. I'm known for that. I'm known for getting people on the ballots. I'm bad when it comes to registering people. They get you on a ballot. I could do 2,500 signatures in a day and a half. I ran for city council and board of education. My number was high, but I was running against people who had money and position. For me to just, just
are
young
you
and
on
running, I did
Facebook?
pretty good.
Are you on
Mhm.
Facebook?
Yes.
So you need to start maximizing that. I mean, really, just a lot of the stuff. You don't have to put your face on it. Like I said, you could just make audio stuff and just really pump it out to your people, so that next time you make some moves, it'll be, it's one of those things where we're investing in the Facebook thing is like really key. It's really key.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
I'm falling asleep. Let me go
Okay.
to bed. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right. Good night.
Peace.
And thank you. Peace.